This is Kundan Shah. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk. So, 58 way of motivation is embrace the new frontier. Fortunately for all of us, a new frontier is upon us because our nation and world has entered the information age. The old patents for the living are gone. An article by business writer John Huey appeared in the June 27, 1994 edition of Fortune. In it, Huey observed, let's say you are going to a party. So you pull out some pocket change and buy a little greeting cards that plays happy birthday when it's open. After the party, someone casually tosses the card into the trash, correct? Throwing away more computer power than existed in the entire world before 1950. Throwing away more computer power than existed in the entire world before 1950. In the old paradigm, the forged in the industrial age, we human beings became less and less useful and adventurous. We found lifelong employment in the current jobs and did our jobs the same way until retirement. Then, once we reached the retirement age, we became thoroughly useless to society and lived lives depend on the government, our relatives, or our savings that we accumulate in our useful years. Now, with the technological explosion and entry into the information age, employers are no longer as interested in our jobs histories as they used to be. They are now more interested in our current capabilities. One of the romantic appeals of the early Daniel Boone and David Crockett frontier days is our nation was usefulness for all individual. Frontier days in our nation was the usefulness of individual. If you were living out the frontier, farming, cooking, and hunting, and you turned at 65, it would never occur to anyone to ask you to retire. Right? So let me explain again. Now, with the technological explosion and entry into the information age, employers are no longer as interested in our job histories as they used to be. They are now more interested in our current capabilities. Our one of the romantic appeals of the early Daniel Boone and David Crockett is frontier days in our nations was the usefulness of individual. If you were living out the frontier farming, cooking and hunting and you turn it to 65, it would never occur to anyone to ask you to retire. If we have finally come back to those days of honoring usefulness over the age and status, correct? If we have finally come back to those days of honoring usefulness over age and status. The usefulness is very important over the age and status. For example, if my company is trying to enter the Chinese market to sell its software, and you at age 70 can speak fluent Chinese, knows all about software, and have energy and zest for the success, how can I afford to ignore you? How can I afford to ignore you? Bill Gates of Microsoft has said our company has only one asset, human imagination. If you took all Microsoft buildings, real estate, office hardware, and physical assets, anything you can touch away from the company, where would it be? If you took all Microsoft buildings, real estate, office hardware, physical assets, anything you can touch, and away from the company, where would it be? Almost exactly where it is now. Because in today's world, a company's value is its thinking, not in its possessions. Because in the today's world, a company's value is in its thinking, not in its possessions. This is the great news for the individual because usefulness is back in the style. If you can cultivate your skills, keep learning new things, study computer, learn a foreign language, or become an expert in the foreign culture and market, you can make yourself useful. The great the great basketball coach John Wooden recommended that we live this credo. What the great basketball coach John Wooden recommended that we live by this credo, especially apt for the new technological frontier. Learn as if you were to live forever. Learn as if you were to live forever and live as if you were to die tomorrow. Gone are those days when your employability depends primarily on your job history, your school ties, your connections, your families, or your seniority. Today, your employability depends on one thing, your current skills, and those skills are completely under your control. This is new frontier, and where we once entered retirement age, nervousness about the walls at the door. Today, with the commitment to lifelong growth through learnings, we can be useful to the world community as we are motivated to be. The more we learn about the future, the more motivated we become to be valuable part of it. Thank you.